Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. You know those creepy shadows you sometimes hear about lurking around Christmas time?
Hmm.
Well, turns out they've got a name, Krampus. And you, our listeners, you sent in a whole stack of articles about this guy.
Oh, wow. That's quite a topic.
It is. Horns, chains, birch sticks. He's like the anti-Santa.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, buckle up because we're about to uncover why someone, somewhere, thought a Christmas demon was a good idea.
Sounds fascinating, actually.
Right. Okay, so one of the articles you sent, Christmas Traditions, Krampus, the German Christmas devil, kind of sets the scene. It says that while good old Saint Nick is rewarding the nice ones, Krampus is lurking nearby, like right there in the shadows, ready to lay down some, well, let's just say old school discipline on anyone on the naughty list.
Old school discipline, that's putting it mildly, I guess.
Seriously, and here's the thing. Forget December 25th, right? December 6th, that's Krampus's big day, apparently.
That's right. Krampusnacht? Or Krampusnacht, as they might say it.
Krampusnacht. See, I like that already.
Catchy. And just a tad terrifying for the kids, I imagine. The article mentions children being scared they'd be stuffed in his basket and get this dragged off to the underworld.
Oh, come on, that's awful. Although I have to admit, pretty effective if you're trying to, like, enforce some good behavior around the holidays.
I suppose so, if a little extreme.
Just a tad.
Right.
But okay, get this, because it gets weirder. The article also talks about these Krampus cards. Krampus carton.
Krampus card.
Yeah, like greeting cards. But instead of reindeer and snowmen, it's this, this horned demonic figure, often with his tongue hanging out.
Oh, wow. Festive.
Right. And some of them are really creepy, while others are almost, I don't know, kind of funny in a dark way. I even saw a few that were like kind of flirtatious, like who knew Krampus had game? It's such a weird mix.
That is pretty strange. It's like they don't know if they should be scared or...
Just asking him out on a date. I know. So where on earth did this whole Krampus thing even come from? Like, who thought this up?
Well, that's a great question. And the truth is, the origins are pretty mysterious. We're talking way back, like lost in pre-Christian Europe kind of stuff.
Wow, really? That old?
It seems so.
Yeah.
But one of the articles you sent, it was the Wikipedia entry on Krampus. It suggests he might be related to some really old Alpine traditions, specifically figures like Perchten and Straggle. Ever heard of them?
I can't say I have.
Yeah, well, there were these wild figures in masks, often associated with, the winter solstice and the kind of spookier side of nature. Imagine these masked figures, right, roaming around the villages during the darkest part of the year, representing all the forces of chaos, like nature spirits.
Oh, wow. So we're talking about something that's, like, deeply rooted in folklore, maybe even predating Christianity, like you said. It's wild how these really old beliefs can stick around, and become part of modern traditions.
It's true. And it makes you wonder what else is out there that we've forgotten about. But you asked about Krampus.
Right, Krampus. So how do you go from this pagan figure, which is fascinating on its own, to, like, the Christmas devil?
It's a real blend of cultural influences, that's for sure. Because, the shift from paganism to Christianity, it didn't happen overnight, did it?
Right. It was a process.
Right. And the Wikipedia article, it mentions how a lot of communities, especially out in the countryside, they held on to the old ways, blending them with the new religion as it came in.
That makes sense. Like, okay, we'll take in some of this new stuff, but we're keeping our traditions too.
Exactly. And so Krampus, he might have been absorbed into the Christmas story as this kind of, I don't know, counterpoint to St. Nicholas. Like, he represents what happens if you're bad, while St. Nick, he's all about the rewards for being good. This whole duality, good and bad, light and dark, we see it everywhere in tons of cultures and traditions.
It really does make you wonder, like, what else is hiding out there in our holidays? What have we forgotten about?
Right. It's fascinating. But we were talking about Krampus and how he's not exactly, faded away. If anything, he's more popular than ever.
No kidding. We're seeing Krampus festivals, Krampus runs everywhere. It's like he went from this scary legend to, like, the cool kid on the block.
It's quite the comeback story.
Yeah.
And it shows just how interested people still are in these old folk tales. And, well, maybe the not-so-nice parts of traditions, too. But get this comeback story, it's got a twist.
Oh.
Yeah. One of the articles you sent, it was titled Krampus is an Evil Man. It talked about how the Austrian government, they actually tried to ban Krampus celebrations back in the 1930s and then again in the 50s.
Wait, hold up. They banned Krampus. Seriously, that's
well.
wild. Why would they do that?
Well, It seems they saw him as a threat, like too intense for kids, a reminder of these older traditions that they weren't too keen on. Kind of ironic if you think about it.
Yeah.
They're trying to get rid of a figure who's all about punishment.
You're telling me it's like, hey, kids, no Krampus, but seriously, behave or else.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, trying to make him go away seemed to have the opposite effect.
Yeah.
Because, well, here we are talking about him.
Right. So much for that plan.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just holding on to the past, It's almost like Krampus has become a symbol of, I don't know, maybe rebellion.
Huh.
Like pushing back against the whole commercialized Christmas thing.
Oh, that's interesting. Instead of like candy canes and carols, it's Krampus and, well, maybe not carols, but you get what I'm saying.
I do. And speaking of pushing back, we can't forget the Krampus runs, the Krampus laughs.
Oh, yeah, those.
Meet Krampus, the Christmas devil who punishes naughty children. That article, it really got into them. It said they've gone from these small traditions to these huge events. Hundreds of people dressed up as Krampus. Masks, costumes, the whole bit.
Those masks are something else. I've seen pictures. Creepy and amazing at the same time. Whoever makes them, they're artists.
They really are.
Yeah.
And the Krampuslaufs, they're incredible to see. Just imagine it. Hundreds of these guys, bells ringing, running through the streets, sometimes with torches, whips, the whole works.
Whoa. Sounds a little intense. Is it all for show, though, or is there more to it than that?
Oh, it's a spectacle, no doubt.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a traditional side to it, too. And yeah, things can get a little wild, let's say. Remember those perched-in figures we talked about? The winter spirits?
How could I forget? Sounds like a party.
Well, they're often a big part of the Krampusloves, adding to the whole atmosphere, And let's just say all those costumes, being out late, and maybe a little too much holiday cheer, things can get interesting.
Okay, now I have to ask, how wild are we talking, really?
Well, the Wikipedia article actually mentioned Krampuslauf-related injuries.
Injuries? Oh, no.
It seems that Festus Spirit and a bunch of people dressed like, well, demonic creatures don't always mix so well. Things happen.
Wow. Okay, then. It really is incredible, though, how this whole tradition has changed, going from something people were afraid of, that governments tried to ban, to this almost celebratory thing.
It really shows you how traditions change, evolve. Folklore is like that. But even now, even with all the changes in how commercial Krampus has become, there's still that feeling, that not everything about winter is all happy and bright.
It's true, Sometimes a little darkness, a little shadow, makes you appreciate the good parts even more. So, let's recap. We've got this ancient figure, maybe pagan, who gets banned, then makes a comeback like some kind of anti-establishment hero. He's on greeting cards, he's in movies, he's causing a ruckus in the streets. What a wild ride for Krampus. But it makes you think, what's it all about, really? Is he just a cautionary tale? A bit of fun, something more?
I think that's what's so cool about traditions like this. They could be different things to different people. I mean, the Krampus you see on a goofy Christmas sweater, that's not exactly striking fear into the hearts of children now, is it?
Not quite the same vibe. Although even on those cards I mentioned, like even when they were trying to be scary, they had this, I don't know, this darkly funny side too. It makes me wonder, has that always been there? Or is that like our modern take on it? Maybe it's how we deal with the not so fun parts of life. Even during the holidays, we make jokes.
It's a good point. Does Krampus changing, going from pure terror to something a little more complex, does that say something about us? About how our relationship with discipline, with fear, even with humor has changed?
Well, we've gone from he'll drag you to the underworld.
Yeah.
To sending Krampus emojis.
Exactly. But I think even with all of that, even with the modern stuff, there's still something about Krampus that draws us in.
Oh, totally. He's got staying power, that's for sure.
I think you're right. He reminds us that traditions, they aren't frozen in time, are they? They're constantly shifting, changing, adapting alongside us. He makes us ask ourselves, what do we want to keep? What do we let go of? And how do we find meaning in these echoes of the past that are still with us?
Like he's holding up a mirror or something. To us, to our culture, to all of it. Wow, this whole deep dive has been incredible. From Krampus cards to Krampuslauf chaos, I feel like I need to go do some more research. Thank you, by the way, for walking us through all of this. It's been fascinating.
You're welcome. Happy to delve into the weird and wonderful world of Krampus anytime.
And to everyone listening, what do you think? Any traditions in your family that might have some, let's say, interesting origins? Anyone lurking around in your culture's history who could give Krampus a run for his money? We want to know. Send us your thoughts. And hey, if you haven't gotten your fill of Krampus yet, do yourself a favor and look up Krampuslauf videos. Just maybe not while you're having a snack. Trust me on that.
Great.
Until next time, keep sending in those research requests and we'll keep bringing you the deepest of dives.